the thing is wobbling. So if you see me looking down at my laptop, it's because I have some reference images here. Because today I'm going to be painting a scene inspired by 2 Kings 6:17. For context, I actually painted something similar to this 2 years ago, and I had no idea about the biblical context behind it. I just thought I was painting a cool horse. That piece was inspired by, like, I just grabbed my brushes. That piece was inspired by what was happening during the pandemic and how everyone was just like really resilient, pushing through. So I decided I wanted to paint a horse like running out of the fire. But this time I want to paint the horse that was revealed to me through the Bible. And yeah, while I paint, we can have a little chat. Well, yeah, I'd like it to be a chat. So even though you're watching this, definitely like leave me some comments and stuff. So that I'm not actually talking to myself. But yeah, we can have a little chat about some of the things I've learned over the past 7 years about being a creative and about just appreciating and honouring and trusting the creative process. Because that's something I actually struggled with for like nearly a decade. I was like really good at the finished project, and you know, I'm finish line queen. And one thing about me, I'm gonna drop a project, but it took me a long time to really appreciate the creative process. And being like an artist, it's just something that you have to be ready to appreciate. Where's my pencils? The pencils aren't down here. Hang on a minute. Oh, porcelain. Got them. Let me just see. This is a 3H. One thing I've learned about being a creative is that it's so easy to fixate on the finished product. I feel like a lot of the time we have the finished product in mind, and that drives so much of our motivation. I know for me, it definitely drives a lot of my motivation, because I actually, before I paint something, I see the finished product in my mind and I just know what to go for. But that makes it so hard sometimes when in the middle of my painting, it's just not looking like what I thought I saw. So you'll probably see that as I paint today. When it comes to being an innovator, it's more about your iterations. Sorry, I've got, you know when you're like looking at reference images and there's like cookies everywhere. So being a creative is all about embracing your iterations, your evolutions, your series, your collections. So actually, before I start with the sketch, I'm going to start adding texture to the background and adding a bit of depth, just so that I'm not sketching on like a white canvas. I don't know, for me it's a bit intimidating whenever I paint and the canvas is just white. So I'm gonna use, oh, all of my paint's the same brand. If you want to sponsor me. I studied art GCSE, art A-level, but I was painting from like reception. That was my favourite thing to do as a kid. I would always like draw and paint. So I don't really know where I learnt this colour combo from, but I really like to mix my colours from scratch and just mix those together. I don't know, can you even see, am I in the shot? So yeah, I would say within the last 2 years, my mindset has shifted massively on when it comes to like iterations and the finished product and what I'm looking for. I think where I started going to the gym, like taking my fitness seriously and taking my faith seriously, I learned that anything that wants to be built in life, it takes a process and it takes iterations and it takes development. And I think whether that's a business you're building, whether that's a painting, whether you're trying to gain muscle, whatever it is, you're just not going to get it straight away. If you want sustainable results as well, this is not something that's going to happen like with one try. You can't just think it and then the finished product is going to be whatever you create on your first attempt. So yeah, it was a pretty humbling experience, but at the same time, it helped really change my perspective. I think one of the things that really helped me, I guess, from my faith. So now I'm gonna just like add a lot of water because I want this to be a light wash. I don't want it to be too much. I didn't prime this canvas, but I think it came already primed. Let's give it a light wash of colour. So something that my faith has taught me about the process is that the creative process is a good thing, and we should reframe. Like, if you're someone who looks at the finished product all of the time and really wants to like get to the end, you're actually limiting yourself and doing yourself a disservice and doing the whole process a disservice by always rushing to the end. I was listening to a sermon not too long ago. It was about relationships, but the pastor touched on the creation story, and he was talking about how like God was able to see the good in something that was unfinished. And I really was just thinking, wow, like, it's so true, because God could have created the universe in one day if he really wanted to, but he didn't. At the end of, I can't remember if it was each day, but there were a couple days when he saw what he created and he knew it was good, like the Bible says, like, and God saw that it was good. And just to be able to like acknowledge that at each step of the journey, even if it's unfinished, it's good. You know, you're creating building blocks, you're not necessarily creating the finished product. And it reminds me of when I was a nail technician. So as a nail technician, you have to go through each step. Each step of the final process is as important as the other. And if you don't complete each step with precision, then your finished product won't survive. And even when you do finish the nails, the next step is aftercare, which is down to your client. And what I mean by that, so you've got prep. So your nails, little bit of random education here, but your nails naturally have oil on them, and the chemicals that are in like acrylics or gel, whatever you're using, they don't work with oil. So you have to prep the nail, dehydrate it, you have to prime, and you have to remove any cuticle that's on the nail bed. And if you don't, what will happen is the nail will lift, and then your client will be like, sis, you can't do nails. And only when you see that each step is completed like well and it's good, can you move on to the next. And I feel like that's something I noticed in the creation story. And it's something that I'm trying to take more into my art. It's something I'm trying to take into my business ventures, is that iterations are good. Each step we take is good, you know? Like now, I'm literally just painting layers on a canvas, and you might be thinking, okay, this is not a masterpiece, but this is going to help me build the layers. I'm setting an atmosphere. I'm making sure that my foundation is supportive of what I'm trying to create in the long run. So you can see me like looking. Right now I'm trying to find my horizon lines. So this is going to be like clouds up here. I'm going to move it lower. Make any executive decision to move it lower. See what I mean? Because I could have been like, this is good, but it's not good yet. It's not good. So, okay, moving it lower. Up there. And then the body. But yeah, the creative process has definitely taught me patience. I thought I had patience, but it turns out I was just really good at waiting. And I think patience and waiting are two different things. Patience, for me, I realised it requires knowing and trusting that the thing that you're waiting for will happen. It will just happen at the right time. Whereas waiting is just like, you're kind of hoping, you don't know. There isn't really any sort of concrete belief there. You're just letting the time go by. Whatever it is that you're going to be stewarding, once you understand the process fully, it makes you a better steward. So for example, when I was working in marketing, I started as a copywriter, and then I was a content writer, and then I was responsible for SEO strategy. But then I became a manager, so I got promoted and I was like taking care of all the SEO strategy. When I was a writer, there were parts of writing that I didn't always enjoy, but I had to learn to love to enjoy it. And the things that I didn't really understand, or sometimes you want to just get to the end part, but there were things that I just couldn't do that with. I had to endure. I had to learn how to manage those experiences for myself. I had to understand what expectations look like. I had to understand how to manage all the different moving parts, working with other people, how it felt for me to work with other people, how it felt for me to be waiting on instructions. I had to go through all of that. And then once I started to appreciate and just accept it and actually start to honor the process, I moved up in my career. I became responsible for more. I got promoted and I was able to then steward other people. So being able to steward that situation myself and manage it well and just really appreciate the process and not try and get to the end product straight away, it gave me the skills to be able to manage someone and to be able to set their expectations. And just through being able to know what they were experiencing when I was in their position and making the best of that. So I'm gonna shush now and I'm gonna paint. And then take it from there.